Everybody always loves to talk about conference realignment and conference expansion. Today, I'm coming up with a fun scenario in which I talk about 10 FCS schools that should join the FBS. I'm not putting into consideration any of the contracts, any of the financials, or any of that stuff because it doesn't really matter to me. This video is purely for fun, as we're going to talk about 10 FCS schools that I want to jump up to the FBS. We're going to go through the school, or they should join, and why they should join. But before we get started, if you're a big fan of college football, be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like if you didn't support today's video, and let me know what player, team, topic, or situation I can cover next. Now let's get started and talk about 10 FCS schools that should make the jump to FBS. Okay, so the first team we're going to talk about is the Rhode Island Rams. I know they have not been very good in the FCS the last couple years, but it'd be kind of fun if they went up to the FBS. I mean, they've been really terrible. Since the year 2000, they have won over 5 games just 5 times. 3 of those seasons have come in the last 5 years under head coach Jim Fleming, but the Rams are off to a really solid start this year. Currently, the Rams are 8-2 and are ranked at number 15 in the FCS right now. Rhode Island is the flagship school of the state, is located in a good TV market, and I'm sure has plenty of East Coast money that could be funneled into the program. I would have them join Conference USA, and they'd probably be the bottom school there. But again, I think it'd be kind of fun if Rhode Island jumped up to the FBS, as their basketball program has also had a couple decent years in the past. This past year, we saw Missouri State jump from the FCS to the FBS, and honestly, I think SEMO has a better shot at actually being a decent team than they do. The SEMO Red Hawks have had a couple of good players over the last few years, including Cowboys rookie Ryan Flournoy, and they have another superstar wide receiver who's a big-time NFL prospect right now. Currently, SEMO is 8-2, and we're as high as number 6 in the country just last week. SEMO is located not too far away from St. Louis. The travel times wouldn't be all that terrible, and I think they would also fit well in Conference USA. I'm not saying the Red Hawks would do anything at the FBS, but I think they've had enough success and have enough potential to justify a move up a level. Okay, so the next team I want to talk about is the Villanova Wildcats. Everybody knows they are a tremendous basketball program with a ton of history, but in football they've also been pretty decent. Between 2014 and 2021, the Wildcats actually made the FCS playoffs 4 different times, were ranked inside the top 10 in 2021, and currently the Wildcats are also ranked inside the top 10. The Cats are currently 8-2, they're climbing up the polls, and they're having a really good season. Villanova is located in a big city, is on the East Coast, and I honestly think wouldn't be too bad in the American. Obviously, basketball would probably stay put in the Big East, but Villanova has the money, the resources, and the level of success to, I think, justify jumping up. Maybe the American's too steep of competition, but I'm sure they would adjust over time. Okay, I know that Youngstown State is having a tough season, but in the past they've been one of the better FCS programs and would fit in pretty much perfectly with the MAC in my eyes. I mean, pretty much every city in Ohio that's kind of steel belt-like and kind of medium-sized is already in the MAC, as you have Kent State, Bowling Green, Akron, Toledo, Ohio, and all those schools, so why not throw Youngstown State there at some point? I mean, they were extremely successful at one point. Between 1986 and 2000, the Penguins won 4 national championships with Jim Tressel as the head coach. From there, the Penguins became one of the better programs in the FCS for quite some time, as at one point they had Bo Pelini as the head coach and recently made the FCS playoffs back in 2023. Stombaugh Stadium, nicknamed the Ice Castle, is one of my favorite stadiums in the FCS, and I'm sure Youngstown can figure out a way to make it in the MAC, and I mean, can they really be any worse than Kent State currently is? Another team that I think could justify making the jump at some point would be the Northern Iowa Panthers. UNI has had a lot of good years in basketball, but they've also been a good football team. In total, Northern Iowa has done really good, as they've won 700 games in its program history and have 33 conference titles. Head coach Mark Farley has been there for 22 years and has won 174 games, but he's apparently retiring because of purity in the sport. Since the year 2000, Northern Iowa has made the FCS playoffs 13 times and even made the national championship game back in 2005. Northern Iowa has been one of those upper tier programs, would probably fit in really well in the MAC culture-wise, and has proven they've been able to produce top tier FCS talent and a couple of NFL players every few years. So why not throw the Panthers in the MAC, as it probably would work, and once again, I raise the question, could they be any worse than Kent State currently is? Another team that has been pretty solid in the FCS has been the Richmond Spiders. They're also a school that's been pretty solid at basketball in its program history, and currently the Spiders are having a really good season in the FCS. Richmond's currently ranked at number 11 in the country. They are 8-2, and they jumped up from 13th last week. Since the year 2000, they've had a couple of good coaches and good seasons. They've made the FCS playoffs 8+ times, and even won a national championship in 2008 with head coach Mike London, who eventually went off to Virginia. the Spiders have been slowly resurrecting their program. They're located on the East Coast in Virginia near DC, and I think have the potential to be a good fit in the Sun Belt. It would take some time, but James Madison did a terrific job with that, and I see no reason why Richmond could not be the next App State or the next James Madison if given the proper resources and a little bit of luck. One team that actually could make the jump to the FBS here soon is Sacramento State. They've been talking about it for a while, as their new president said, quote, "We are ready for the FBS." Located in the state of California, they would be a premier school to add to that new Pac-12. Currently, the Hornets have launched a PR campaign for a new 25,000-seat football stadium, a partnership with the Sacramento Kings for men's and women's basketball to play in their arena, and a $35 million NIL pool. Their president said, quote, "I can confidently say that we're ready for the FBS, and I can honestly see them going to the new Pac-12 or the Mountain West." Sacramento State, though, hasn't had a ton of success, as they only have 3 playoff appearances, and most recently, they lost their good head coach, Troy Taylor, as he is now the head man at Stanford. Sacramento State, though, is one of those programs that's currently operating on rocket fuel, though, as they're pouring in the money and the resources and the time and talent, and that could be enough for Sacramento State to make the jump. And obviously, they're located in a talent-rich area in California, in a big city, and have plenty of potential. The Montana schools have been consistently good at college football, and Montana State is my pick for a team that needs to go to the next level. In total, the Bobcats have been really good in its program's history, as they have won 525 games, are 3-1 in bowls, and actually have 3 claimed national championships. All of those came before the year 2000, but they've been really good recently. Since 2010, the Bobcats have made the playoffs 9 times, and this year they are currently ranked number 2 in the country and got 14 first-place votes. The Bobcats are 10-0, are the only undefeated team left in the FCS, and only trail North Dakota State, who's 9-1. Montana State would definitely have some logistical issues, but in terms of competitiveness, they would be fine in the FBS, and I would choose them to also go to the new Pac-12. I think that'd be a lot of fun, but there's no world in which that would be able to happen because Montana would have to come with them, because that is one of the biggest rivalries in all of sports that nobody really knows about. Montana State, though, would definitely elevate their play, and in a hypothetical world, it'd be really cool to see them in the FBS. Another program that is consistently good year in and year out is the South Dakota State Jackrabbits, and people have been mentioning their name for expansion for quite some time. They've won 655 games in their program history and have 2 national titles in both 2022 and 2023. They have done extraordinarily well over the last couple of years, as they have not missed the FCS playoffs since 2011, and typically they at least advance 3 games. South Dakota State has become a juggernaut in the FCS, and many believe that they're almost on par with North Dakota State now. I mean, they've won back-to-back national championships. Currently, the Rabbits are 8-2, and they're ranked at number 3 in the FCS. I'd honestly love to see them go to the Pac-12 as well, but in a crazy world with the trajectory that they're on, I could maybe see a world in which they could be in the Big 12. They'd probably be the worst program there, but they would adapt over time, and South Dakota State has been extremely competitive. Alright, you guys all know who is at number 1. That's the North Dakota State Bison. They are the premier FCS team located in Fargo, North Dakota, and they have been incredible. The Bison have 17 national championships, and most of that has just come in the last 15 years, as they've won 9 of them since the year 2011. They've had multiple good head coaches such as Craig Bohl and Chris Kleiman, and multiple big draft picks like Carson Wentz and Trey Lance. North Dakota State has also pulled off many upsets over FBS and even Power 5 teams, so the problem with them has never been competitiveness, it's about logistics. Fargo would be very difficult to get in and out of, and honestly, why would you give up being the number 1 team in the FCS right now to be lower level in the FBS? Still though, I would probably end up putting them in the Big 12, and I think they would adapt rather quickly and actually have some success there. North Dakota State's always the first team mentioned in terms of jumping from the FCS to the FBS, and that's why I have them at number 1 right now. But what do you guys think? Was I completely crazy in this video? What other FCS teams do you think could move up to the FBS? What are your thoughts on today's video? Be sure to let me know down below, leave a like if you didn't support today's video, subscribe if you're new, and check out some of the videos on the end screen. I hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.